Hi there, I'm Molly,
And I'm Jamie. We're the owners of Hired Hand Software.
and this is Season 6 of our From the Pasture podcast. For more than 15 years, we've been helping breeders promote their pedigree livestock with our easy-to-use, animal management-driven website software.
Each week, we bring you stories from the pasture, breeding philosophies, ranch traditions, cattle knowledge, and conversation with folks using Hired Hand to power their livestock marketing.
So settle in for today's episode of From the Pasture with Hired Hand. Today's episode is a great one for anyone who's ever thought about what it really means to build a program with intention. We're joined by Tanner Evans of Frontier Longhorns out of Abilene, Texas, where his focus is simple but powerful, preserving the legacy of the Texas Longhorn while building something that stands the test of time. In today's conversation, we're going to talk about what it looks like to balance tradition with progress, how Tanner approaches breeding for color, structure, and horn, and what goes into creating a herd that's not just good today, but meaningful for the future. If you're new to Longhorns, thinking about starting your own herd, or just enjoy hearing about how different breeders approach their programs, you're going to get a lot out of this one. So let's get to it. Thanks for joining me today, Tanner.
Absolutely. Excited to be on.
Let's go ahead and just get right into it, kind of with the start of your program here, the foundation. Where did your interest in Longhorn start?
So my interest started early, in the early 2000s, I believe. I was probably, 12-ish, somewhere around there, when my granddad wanted some pasture ornaments. He'd moved out to, I guess they probably had 150 acres-ish, and just wanted a couple pasture ornaments. So he actually bought our very first two Longhorns, a young steer and then a young heifer from Todd McKnight when Todd lived in Abilene. He originally lived in Abilene before they moved up to Kansas. And so we bought our first two from them, and then kind of just, snowballed from there. Had a friend that had a registered bull, so we could borrow him every year, and kind of that's kind of where the basis started. And then I think we had several, and then kind of got out of it, stepped away, and then recently, in the past couple of years, I was wanting to get back into some sort of cattle operation, and we were deciding between kind of a commercial beef cattle operation, and we decided to dive back into Longhorns. That's the backstory. That's where the interest originally started, was from my granddad buying his first two.
Do you feel like if you put that part of your family history aside, was there anything else specifically that kind of pulled you back into the breed?
I've always been fascinated with them. I like history, specifically Texas history, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. That's kind of where Frontier came from. Texas and the West history. And I just think there's nothing that symbolizes Texas history in the West perhaps better than the iconic Longhorn. And so it's a lot more fun than black cows in the pasture.
What did those first few look like, if you can remember back, when you were younger and your grandfather, started with his herd? What did those first few animals look like compared to maybe kind of your foundation animals today?
So the first heifer that we had her for, she lived and died on our place, and lived to be, I think, 20-ish years old, 21. Looking back now, I don't think we fully appreciated how good of a cow she was, because we weren't looking to build a program. We just had some Longhorns. Horn has changed so much in such a short amount of time. Like I said, we bought her in the early 2000s, and I think I measured her after she had died, and she was just over 75 inches. So for a cow that was born in the early 2000s, that was significant horn growth back then. Now looking back, it's not not so much. But I think, and I mean, one of the big things that we look at for foundation cows now is production. She was a good mother. She had calves. I think she calved her last calf she had when she was like probably 4 years before she passed away. So she had calves until she was 17, 18 years old, which, is one of the key things that we look for now. Um, and Todd has a great program, and so anything that comes from him, is going to be a solid cow. I think now, um, probably the genetics or pedigree wasn't, as quote unquote well known, or she didn't have the recognizable names in her pedigree that we kind of look for now in foundation cows. But I mean, from a production standpoint and just a look, she was everything we could have asked for to kind of get us started. And now we use that as kind of a looking back and comparing, um, even today with the cows that we have now.
We're going to talk a lot more about your cows today and what you look for, but I want to touch on something you mentioned briefly. Go ahead and tell me about where the name Frontier Longhorns or Frontier Ranch came from.
So Frontier, I love Texas and Western history. We actually live in Abilene, and there's a place in Abilene called Frontier, Texas. It's a really cool museum. If you're ever around Abilene, check it out. And it kind of embodies and signifies the culture and the history of the West and the westward expansion, which has kind of always been one of a fascinating thing for me. And I actually, before we had Frontier Longhorns, or Frontier Cattle Company, I have a land improvement business that's called Frontier Land Improvement as well. And so we just wanted to stick with that, stick with something that, that means something to us, and it goes along with what we're trying to do, like you said, the preserving the legacy, building the future. We feel like we're really want to embody that preserving the legacy portion, and I think there's no better way to do that than pay homage to kind of the history of the Texas Longhorn, as it was the cow or the cattle breed that kind of was at the forefront of the Western expansion.
That's a great segue into some of my next questions. I'd like to dig in a little bit more with you to the preserving the legacy. You mentioned that several times on your website, and besides what you've already mentioned, is there anything else that means to you that kind of runs through your program as a mission or a value?
Yeah, and I think preserving the legacy. Um, I don't even know that it has to do with the necessarily the breeding characteristics that we're looking for to breed, or we're looking to maintain um, certain traits. I think maybe more than anything, it's just preserving the legacy of the breed as a whole, putting it back at the forefront of conversations in the cattle industry. I mean, I think there's so many um, organizations that are doing a great job with that right now, like the Fort Worth herd. I mean, Fort Worth has exploded in the last 5, 8 years with the amount of people that are in the stockyards, and everybody goes to see the Longhorns come down Main or Exchange Street, whatever it is. Um, so I think that the preserving the legacy is just building a base and breeding an animal um, that is the total package animal that we're still pays homage to what the Texas Longhorn looked like 60, 80 or 100 years ago.
What do you feel like are some of the traits that maybe are moving the industry away from that?
Probably horn growth, horn length, just tip to tip, which is it's a double-edged sword. It's why people have Texas Longhorns, is because it is really cool to look out in your pasture and see a bunch of 90-inch cows. That's just a cool thing. That's why people love the breed. And I think there's I really do think, from my short time back in it, I think there was probably a period of time that we maybe strayed away from the things that really make a Texas Longhorn unique, and the things that make Texas Longhorns the breed that they are. And I think while we focused more on tip to tip, I think we're coming back to that, honestly. I mean, even you look at um, some of the longest cows in the breed right now, the longest tip to tip cows in the breed, they're full package cows. They're all around great cows. Like I just saw at the legacy sale, that Houdini's Rosemary, there's not a hole in her. She's going to challenge the longest horn cow in the breed, and she's a great looking cow. So I don't think necessarily to have those long tip to tip cows you have to sacrifice other things. I think there was just maybe a period of time where there was some breeders or some people that were sacrificing other things in order to just chase that tip to tip. I think we're at a place now where we have so many really good cows. And like I said, I mean, she's probably going to be the longest horn cow in the breed, and there's not a hole in her. She's solid from top to bottom. And I mean, production, confirmation, she's just solid. And so I want to be careful with saying, we're sacrificing the rest of the cow for horn length, because there are some phenomenal ones out there.
Do you feel like there are other ways, or maybe you can talk more about like the how to, but balancing tradition with the modern breeding goals?
Yeah, I think just um, doing your research, really doing research and thoughtfully pairing um, these animals. And there's so many. We're just, and we can talk on this later too. We're just kind of I'm getting into the IVF. We've done some AI, just kind of getting into the IVF world, and there's so many really good bulls out there, that your options are nearly endless with and it can be overwhelming. But just doing your research to, if you have a cow that has, say, if you have a cow that's a little bit smaller framed, just being mindful of pairing her with some of the bulls that fix that, because there are some great bulls in the breed. And we have, I mean, one of our younger herd sires is a new bull. He's a younger bull called Mr. Handsome. Uh, what we probably will not pair him with cows that are of that smaller structure, because he's a great bull, great young bull, but he fits more into that athletic bull category. You know what I mean? He's never going to be 2,100 pounds. Just not how he's built. Um, I don't think that's a knock on him. I just think he's a different type. But just being mindful of that, and kind of watching pairings, and just being more mindful of pairings, rather than, well, this is the bull we have access to, so this is what we're going to pair him with. And I think that kind of mindset can just set you back a little bit.
What other sorts of traits, pedigrees, characteristics are you breeding towards right now with your program?
So we just added two new cows at the legacy sale, um, that we're really excited about. I would say we're looking for, if I had to place traits in a 1, 2, 3 order of importance to me, it would be probably just the structure, body structure, and then we love breeding for color. I've kind of gotten really fascinated with all the neogen, being able to send in DNA samples and just kind of really dive into that. And there's actually an article, you would probably know. The name of the website just left me. He has a color genetics article. It's like 6 pages. And I just dove into the Double Helix Ranch. That's the name. Sorry. Um, just read through all that, and just I really kind of got interested in that and looking at the different genetic makeups as far as coat color and that calculating that bounce on the coat color. And that's really fascinated me. And then, I mean, horn growth. I'm not going to, like I said, I think it's important to everybody. But we just I would put it in the category of third most importance to us. We're looking for structure, color, and then horn growth is kind of what we're after.
Well, you touched on something that maybe isn't familiar to all of our listeners. You mentioned Neogen and sending in DNA samples. Kind of give me the broad overview of what that means, how that works, maybe ways that folks can educate themselves about that if this is new to them.
Yeah, if it's new to you, it was new to me a short time ago, and it seems overwhelming. I actually just got into it after talking with Marshall Merritt. He gave me a sheet of all of his cows at Northridge Ranch, and I was just fascinated with. I was like, "This is incredible information. Where do you get this?" And he gave me the number of a girl at Neogen, and I started talking with her. It's they make the process very easy. It's like a little ear tag type tool that you get on Valley Vet. They barcode everything. They send it to you. You just take a quick sample and send it in, and they send you these reports back. And coat color is just one of the many reports that you get. I mean, it can be it can be overwhelming just looking at it, going through some of the reports because it's a lot of information. But I think it's a lot of great information to have and to know about your herd in general. And for what we do, it's very, very cheap in the grand scheme of things to know these are the dominant traits I have in each one of these cows. And then every bull now has these DNA markers on file. And so you can find it on every bull. So it's a very, very helpful tool. And Neogen will help you if you don't understand the reports, reading them, they will help you read through them. She'll send you an email that they make it very, very simple. For even someone that's new, and it seems overwhelming to do it, but it's really not. It's and I would recommend it to anybody. I think it's a very, very helpful tool, and it's something that's really, really, it's just good to know about your cattle. It'll give you a lot of insight into things that you didn't even know.
So has that already impacted the way that you approach some of your breeding strategy decisions?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, you look at those pairings, and it's a chart it's science. It's simple to read. Everybody's read them kind of at one point or in their life or another, but it breaks it down and makes it really easy, and it makes it a little bit more of obviously it's never a 100% certain with any pairing. But it just makes it nice to know. I mean, we always heard, oh, if you have a white cow, put a white cow and a red bull makes color. It's like, well, yes, usually, but when you see this, it gives you, I mean, exact percentages, and it really has changed. I don't know that I don't know that yet it's like made us stop a pairing that we thought we were going to do or do a different pairing that we maybe weren't going to do. But I know in the near future it will. It'll play some key factors um, in pairing decisions that we make.
Speaking of pairings, can you share with me maybe your top 2 or 3 that you're most excited about?
That we have coming up. So probably the cows or one of the cows we just bought at Legacy is it's Burdick's Lioness out of that Lioness line, and she comes bred to a young bull that I think is going to be great, HL Discovery. I'm really excited about that pairing. That's one of our more excited pairings that we have in there. Those calves are due any day. We have another one, a Django, and then we have one out of Rural Safari Sun. That's one of the second cow we bought at the Legacy sale. um, DCT Gracie, was bred to a rural safari son. So I'm excited about that one. Um, Probably the one I'm most excited about is an embryo that we got from Austin Roar. It's out of Heads Up and Leading Lady. I love that Leading Lady cow. I think she's phenomenal. Um, I'm really, really excited about that one. That would probably be number one on my on my list if I had to choose. And I'm also, I mean, I always get excited. I get excited about all the young calves that we're going to have. This will be our first group of calves out of this new bull that we have. As far as from a natural breeding standpoint, I'm excited to see that first calf crop from him.
Where do you want your herd to be in 5 to 10 years?
I just want to be breeding animals consistently that we're proud of, that we're proud to take to these futurities. That's a new world for me. And so breeding animals that we're proud to take to those, and breeding animals that we're proud to present in these elite sales, whether it be the treasure sale or the Glendenning sale or the legacy sale, or I know I'm leaving some out, but there's so many really, really good sales out there now. And so just breeding animals that we're proud of, to take there, because that's why we're really doing it. Is just to kind of create something that we're proud of. And that's whether that be having a bunch of 100-inch cows or having just a bunch of really, really well put together, well producing cows that are consistently out producing themselves. That's where we want to be.
What makes a Hired Hand website different? It's powered by the same pedigree data you rely on to manage your herd.
Your animal records, photos, pedigrees, progeny, measurements, all connected, all searchable, all working for you online.
When buyers explore your site, they're not just looking at pictures, they're viewing your program through real data.
That's the advantage of a pedigree-driven website platform.
See how it works at hiredhandsoftware.com. Let's dig in a little bit deeper to both the female side of your program as well as the bull side. But let's talk kind of general overview before we do that. So when you're making your breeding decisions, I know you've ranked a few other things we've talked about here, so I'll ask you to rank maybe in order. What matters the most first? Is it color, structure, horn growth? Give me your 3 things that you matter.
Structure for sure is number one. And then I would say color and then horn growth. If I had to go 1, 2, 3, be structure, color, horn growth, is how I would rank it. Just on the spot. Those are my 1, 2, 3.
What do you feel like is harder to fix genetically than most people think?
Probably something not in those 3. Disposition, I would say. I think a lot of, and it's something that, that we take seriously. I have young kids that love all of our cows, and our bull right now, Mr. Handsome, he's he's puppy dog gentle. My 3-year-old girl can just walk up and just scratch him on the head. And we take that seriously, and I think it's harder to. I think that's something that's harder to fix genetically than some people think. Just a puppy dog gentle bull with, if the mother's crazy, it just doesn't work. It doesn't matter how gentle the bull is. Those wild cows raise wild calves. And I think that's harder. I don't know that that's something that's hard that is easily bred out of a line. I think that's something that we haven't had to make any like tough culling decisions based on that, but that's something that definitely will play a huge factor in, those borderline cull keep heifers is disposition. So we just don't have time. I don't want to mess with crazy cows.
in your herd, what separates a good animal from one you would continue to build your herd around?
Mothering ability. We put a strong emphasis on that. I think that's one of the best, the highlights of the breed, of the Longhorn breed, is mothering ability. Their calving ease, their calving independence, their protectiveness. I think those are some of the highlights of the Longhorn breed. And so we put a very strong emphasis on that. You know, we can have a great, really colorful, great looking cow, lots of twists. I mean, in fact, we have one right now. She's a beautiful black and white cow. And she's not a bad mother. She just doesn't have that mothering instinct. And that I don't know if I'm putting that well, but she's not, like I said, she's not a bad mother, but she's a good cow. But if she had that really strong mothering instinct, that calving ease, that protectiveness, that really, really high milk production, then she'd be a great cow. And that's the only thing that she's beautiful, black and white cow, lots of twist. But she just kind of lacks there. And so that, I would think, that separates her from being a good and a great cow in our herd.
Well, let's keep talking about the maternal side, since you brought up that trait. What makes a cow foundational in your program?
I think all those things that I just listed that kind of makes them great. And then plus, I think now there's getting to be so many good cow lines in the breed. They got to go back and have one of those really, really good cow lines in them. And we have some of those. We have a couple. But I think those, having all of those traits that we talked about, plus having that really good cow line in their pedigree, I think one of the best ones right now that we're looking to add a little bit is that 3S, that Danica line. I think she's from a production standpoint, you know, she just consistently produces amazing cow after amazing cow, and bulls too. But yeah, I would think that having all of those traits plus having the elite pedigree to go along with it would kind of brings us to a foundational cow.
Who are some of your other favorite maternal lines, or females, maybe dead or alive, and tell me why they're your favorite, and if you have plans to have them impact your herd, or you just are a fan?
Yeah, so that 3S Danica line, like I just said, they really showcased her well at the Legacy sale. I thought that was great. You saw one of her daughters there that was actually the mother to the Spotlight Bull, I believe. Yeah, Marlboro Man. I thought he was great too. He looked really good there. So that line, and we kind of made some plans there to try to use him to bring some of those genetics in. The Rose line, I love that. There was a cow there at that sale, at the Legacy sale, that Roses Jack had that Roses line, like her. Jam and Jenny, love what she's doing. I think there's so many good cows in the breed. The good cow lines are the ones that have proven that they're going to produce. And I think that Danica is doing that. I mean, you look at, there's just 100-inch cows, I think several of them in her line. Plus this Marlboro Man bull is great. And they're already having great. I just saw some of his heifers, I think, that looked really, really good. And there was one in the treasure sale that I thought was great.
So this might be a little bit of a redundant question if your answer matches the folks who bred those cows, but who are some breeders who feel like you do who are some breeders who you feel like do a great job with maternal lines and who you'd love to talk cattle with all afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people who have bred the 3S Danica. I'll tell you one that I really like too that is Dylan over at Lonesome Pines. I think they have a bunch of really, really great cows there. And there was one that keep going back to the legacy sale. It's the most recent sale we just went to, but they had a cut and dried daughter called Cut and High there that had a really good maternal line. Dylan, they do a good job over there. Like I said, there's so many good ones right now. The Floyd's, he's out by Robert Floyd. He's out by us, kind of Albany area. He's got some great cow lines in their herd. Yeah, I think those would be a couple of them. But yeah, just those. That, like I said, I think if I had to go back to my favorite one right now, it'd probably be the Danica line. As far as just a cow family right now, that changes.
What do you look for in a heifer to decide if you're going to keep her or cull her or sell her?
Right. So right now, we probably keep heifers longer right now than we will, say, in the next 3 years. I'm just at that we have some good ones that I want to give them a chance. You know what I mean? And I have one right now that's a drag iron granddaughter, son of a bull called Charred Iron, and just love her bottom side of her pedigree too. Her horn direction is probably something that I would possibly cull on. Just goes a little far forward, but it's so tough because she has the structure, she has the color. It's just that horn direction's kind of funny, and she has a great disposition, and so that's something that I wouldn't cull on because I want to see. I think she's great, and I want to. Her pedigree's great, and color's great, structure's great. I want to see what she can do if we put her with a really flat lateral bull, or a bull that's known for like a drop box, or a bull like that that's known for flattening those out. I think she could still produce really, really great cows for us, and so that's something we wouldn't cull on. Versus one that has maybe a flatter horn set, but just structurally isn't quite there. I think that's probably the structure is probably the biggest thing that we cull on. And it's funny. I was just looking at I don't even cull necessarily on color as much. Watching that treasure sale, there was a Mr. Big Stuff daughter that sold for like 75 grand, I think. And it gets Kurt 20 or 20. And he has two other cows or two other heifers that are full sisters to her that are both solid red. And so I feel like I'm like, there's such good genetic lines there that I think it's kind of silly to cull on that solid color. I think the biggest thing is just structure, because that's something that they're going to pass down, is the structure. You don't necessarily know they're going to pass down the solid red color. And so that would be the biggest thing that I think we cull on is definitely structure.
If you're raising Texas Longhorns in the northern U.S. or thinking about getting started, the Great Northern Texas Longhorn Association is a community that you'll want to know.
Founded in 1994 by breeders who want to spread the word about the Texas Longhorn in Wisconsin, the GNTLA stays active through ranch meetings, events, and year-round communication with members.
Their volunteer work has taken the breed to horse fairs, ag events, and county shows, helping to introduce Longhorns to new audiences across the region.
And today, their Great Northern Longhorn Classic and Cheesehead Futurity, held in Gresham, Wisconsin, brings in new breeders every year, many purchasing their very first Longhorn through this growing event.
If you want to connect, learn, and be a part of a welcoming Longhorn community, visit gntla.net. Let's keep talking about structure, but let's switch gears and talk about bulls. So structurally, what are you looking for in a bull that you're going to use in your program?
Um, I'll give you what we just bought, because I feel like that's for kind of our, what I call our main herd there that's at the house. And then, he's young, so he's got a lot of growing to do. He has the horn. He has the he's really, really flat. He has the temperament. Structurally, he's not, he's an athletic bull. Which the cows that we have him on are big bodied, big, deep bodied cows. So we don't have to worry about that. Um, I think he probably resembles the old style, the old style Texas Longhorn bull. Um, Structurally, he's, like I said, he's more athletic. He's a little more trimmed up, very, very toned, muscle wise, and I think he's going to be great. I really do. He's out of hired hand, and I love that bull. I think he's doing some great. He's he's got some great ones. And so genetically, I think, and pedigree wise, I think he's great. Um, and but yeah, structurally, some people might look at him and say, "Oh, he's not, he's not big enough," and then other people, I think it's just a preference. And right now, my preference, I lean more towards a bull that we're going to have on our property, consistently year after year, breeding with our cows. I think he fits the bill perfect, from that athletic type standpoint that we're looking uh, to create. Because, like I said, I don't we with the cows that we have, we don't need a 2,100 pound bull. We don't need a giant to still have very structurally sound heifers. That we don't necessarily need that. So he fits exactly what we're doing.
And what's his name in case folks want to look him up on your website?
His name is Mr. Handsome, NRR Mr. Handsome. He's on there. I just measured him the other day. He was at 66 and a half. He turns 2 in April, I believe. April something. So, we're really excited about him, and we actually bought him on, in the January hired hand sale, from Marshall. So
Got him in the hired hand sale. He's out of hired hand.
he's out of, there you
That's
go.
the whole theme here.
Exactly. Yeah. Great name. That's why we bought him.
Well, tell me, I know we've talked a lot through the podcast. We've kind of skipped around, but I feel like you've touched on a lot of what's important for you with bulls and herd sires. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about some of your all-time favorite bulls, dead or alive, and why they're your favorite, and if they're impacting your herd at all today?
Yeah. Drag iron is, I think, and yes, he does. Our herd probably has more of a drag iron influence than any other bull. We have uh, 4 drag iron granddaughters, and then, looking to add a drag iron daughter, that I'm kind of in the works right now. Um, and so I think he has probably impacted our herd, single handedly more than any bull. Just from most of our cows go back to him. I think he just he produced such a strong cow. He's not necessarily known for, producing a lot of high powered bulls. Um, but and I say that, I think that's why, I think that's why Buck Win, that bull that the Glendennings have right now, I think that's why he's exploded. And he's one, that bull he's phenomenal. He's great. But I think part of the allure behind him is because there's not that many drag iron sons that are just great. And he's phenomenal. And so, but I think drag iron produces his cow lines are just so great. and he can, he fixed a lot of issues that people had with cows. And so that's one of my favorite. I love that buck win. From a new, he's not that young anymore, but from a cow or from a bull that's kind of, I guess, less legendary and more like right now. I think he's great. Um, some of the other ones, let's see. I love, like I said, I love Dropbox for kind of flattening out. We're using him on one of the cows we bought uh, at the legacy sale. Is she's got a ton of total horn as a really young cow, and it just is a little upright, and I'm really excited about getting to pair her with. I think we're going. I think I'm going to. I don't know. Haven't done it yet, but I think I'm really, really wanting to pair her with Dropbox, because he can just flatten that horn out a little bit, and if she can just pass some of that total horn on, and I love him. Obviously the tough checks. Um, I think there's so many tough checks daughters and tough checks sons out there. That it can be kind of tricky. Um, but I mean, he is. That's why he was. There's so many out there because he is what he is. Um, he was phenomenal. Yeah, I would say those drag iron for sure influences it the most. And I think one of my favorite bulls right now is Buck Win.
Well, you've talked a lot about animals that you've purchased as a way to kind of grow and, supplement your herd. What advice would you give to maybe breeders who are just getting started and, looking to purchase, whether it be through consignment sales, private treaty, online? Talk me through what your best advice and best examples would be.
Best advice would be before you buy, talk to as many people and as many breeders as you can. I think I tried to do that. And looking back, I would have even done it more if knowing that and I'm happy. I'm happy with everything, how we started our program. But yeah, I would say just get out and go to a sale. They can be intimidating if you've never been and you don't really know anyone. It kind of gets crazy and can be intimidating. But everybody that I've met in this breed is so friendly and eager to help. Just everyone has their phone number on their website. Don't hesitate to call. We all are kind of obsessed with it and love talking about them. So don't hesitate to call and just ask questions and reach out to people. And I would strongly recommend attending a sale before you go try to buy an animal at a sale. Just go and watch, and kind of see what's going on. Yeah, that would be my biggest advice. Would just be to talk to as many people, and as many breeders as you can, because everyone's eager to help.
Do you feel like it is better to start small and build or invest big up front? What would your advice be there?
For me, I don't want to say I'm a young person in the breed, and I don't want to make I don't I'm not saying I'm not. It's not a knock on anything. I'm 36, and so I felt like we have a little more time to invest small and build a foundation. But it takes time to do that. And if you're wanting something quick, then you have to kind of spend that. But I also just wasn't going to spend the kind of money that it takes to build a program where I want to be in 5 years. I wasn't going to spend the money right now to have that now. Um, and so I think you can do it both ways if you have the time, um, and the patience to build over time. I like how we're doing it. We bought eight or 10. Um, right up front. And then now I kind of have a plan in my mind of what I want to add. We're still going to buy, we're still going to buy animals every year at the sale, but I kind of have a plan in my head of what I want to add, year after year, to help accelerate that each year. Yeah. So I don't think there's a wrong way to do it. If you have the means and you're all in, then dive headfirst in, and you can't go wrong with buying really, really great cows.
So if someone buys from Frontier Longhorns, what are they investing in?
Thinking about hosting your own online sale?
With Hired Hand Live, you can run a standalone internet auction right from your ranch. No travel, no weather concerns, no space limitations.
You have the animals? We handle the technology.
It's stress-free, secure, and designed for livestock breeders.
Start your own sale at hiredhandlive.com.
I think they're investing in a breeder that's committed to being around for a long time to come. That's committed to producing solid animals year after year. And someone that's not. I don't. We're not chasing. We're not chasing fads, or we kind of have our. I have our long term plan, and while I'm sure I'll veer from that here and there, I for the most part I kind of want to stick to our 5-10 year plan. And so I think that's one of the most important things, is just knowing that you're buying from someone that's committed to being around for a while. And I want that to be the most important thing. And hopefully you're buying from someone that you're happy to come back to multiple times. Because I know the people that we've bought animals from, I know will be back, just because I like their program. And if you like someone's program and what they're producing, odds are 2-3 years down the road, you're gonna still like their program. And so I want to be that for the people that buy from us.
How do you approach selling your cattle? Talk me through like relationship building, marketing, that type of stuff.
I talked about kind of the futurity world as a new world to us, and just getting out there and meeting people, and marketing. Social media is such a huge thing now. I'm probably not the best at it. My wife's pretty good at it. She does all the cool videos and all that stuff for us. Um, I'm not the I'm not the best on social media, but I'm constantly scrolling Facebook, um, different things like that. I think the one thing that our industry does really well is we sell to each other very well. I think one of the areas we're lacking in is selling to the what I would call kind of a lifestyle buyer, the guy with 10, 12 acres that wants a steer and a cow, or wants a couple young heifers just to have as pasture pets. And so I think I'm trying to be creative on ways for us to kind of market in that area as well. And I haven't. When I figure that out, I'll get back with you. I'm still working on how to figure that out, but we're doing some cool things on social media, Facebook, Google, all that good stuff. But that's one of the areas we're trying to get better at.
I feel like that could be a whole episode in itself, probably.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely.
How has having an online presence helped your program?
I mean, I love it. I think, what Hired Hand does is in making, um, building a professional looking website, is great. It helps. I'll tell you one of the things that I use it the most for is, whether we're measuring or out looking at our cows, thinking about pairings and everything, I constantly have my phone looking at just, looking at clicking on other animals, taking me to their page, taking me to their pedigree, their health history, their progeny. It's so nice having it at the click of your phone out in the pasture. Um, I think that's one of the things that I love about it most. From a marketing our animals standpoint, I think it's nice to have it, all all on there, and being able to link to Facebook and various things like that. And I just think it's what y'all have done is making ranches have a professional looking website fairly easy. Now getting people to update that website is a whole nother story. And making sure that I try to, I fall off on it some too, but, yeah, I think that those are the things that we love about it the most. I think it's an incredible tool, handy tool to have on your phone to be able to just click through all these pedigrees and see all of these different animals at the click of your thumb. It was very handy.
Feeling you might have just answered this question already, but let's reword it. We'll say, besides having an updated site, what do you think buyers today expect for information and data when it comes to making purchases?
I think one of the and I've just started. I have all this in a separate spreadsheet that I've just started kind of transferring over to our hired hand site. I think all your health stuff up there on your animals, on your hired hand site. I think making that readily available to people that click on your site, gives people a sense of comfort in knowing, that we are vaccinating regularly. We're deworming. We're taking care of. We're doing all of these things on a regular basis. And like I said, ours is not even fully updated to where I want it. But that's one of the things I'm working on right now on getting that stuff updated, because I think that is a really, and it's also nice, to just have to enter it in one spot. I can enter it in the back end of hired hand, and I don't have to enter it in a spreadsheet and then move it over. I can just enter it all right there, and then just make it public, and then I can also see it on the back end too. And so I think that from a buyer's standpoint, I know for me, I think that adds, I don't know if it's a layer of legitimacy or transparency or what it is, but I think that's really important.
And a fun fact that not a lot of folks know if they're not updating their site frequently is you can also do that in bulk. So you can select all of your animals you dewormed with one click and apply that to them, and then you're not having to go into every animal. So we're trying to save you time to
Right.
make.
Yes. Hey, and it's saving time. I mean, I've decided, I'm not going to use our spreadsheet. There's just no reason to, when I can just do it all in there, and it's all readily available for me anytime I need it. Whether it be, because even if it's on my spreadsheet, then if I'm out in the pasture or whatever, it's not on my phone at that point. And if I just do it in there, it's on my phone. It's everywhere I go. So I think I've just kind of decided to fully transfer over to that and just enter it in one place.
What are you most excited for the future of the industry and the breed?
I think just, where it's going, I think is a good place right now. As far as, you know, I think most all breeders are on the same page as far as wanting to, breed for total animal package. And I think you can even see it kind of um, you can kind of see it in some of the early trends of the first futurities and the first sale. Um, Animals, that have really good structure and come in very well conditioned are selling much, much better than even animals that probably have more horn that come in with subpar, condition. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think that I think that's a very good thing. And and even in the futurity world, I think that can almost be exaggerated a little bit. You can get some over rewarding for over condition, but I think there's starting to be a happy medium there. Um, and so I'm excited for I think all breeders are in a general consensus that we need to be breeding for a total package animal rather than a chasing tip to tip. And I think that puts us in a really good spot. And I think, like I said, with what the herd's doing, I think like that was at the Eddie Wood sale this year. I thought that was great. Just the showcase of the Fort Worth herd, and I think that's it's becoming a more widespread known breed again, and I think I'm really excited for that and to be a part of that.
What haven't I asked you about that you want to cover and have our listeners know while I have you on the interview here today?
Oh, what haven't you asked? Man, we've covered most everything. We've got some exciting new things coming up from an online presence that I kind of talked to you a little bit about with a website called the longhornexchange.com. That would be the only thing. It's kind of a marketplace, centralized marketplace for kind of what I was talking about for that lifestyle breeder, or focus more on that lifestyle breeder. But other than that, I think that was about it.
Awesome. In addition to that, go ahead and tell everyone where they can find your Frontier website and your socials if they want to learn more about your.
You can find us on Frontier Longhorns on Instagram, Facebook, and then frontierlonghorns.com or frontiercattlecompany.com. Either one takes you to our page.
Well, thank you so much, Tanner, for joining me today on From the Pasture. If our listeners want to explore more programs like Tanner's, study pedigrees, or see how breeders are presenting their cattle online, head over to hiredhandsoftware.com to learn more about our websites and our customers, and be sure to check out both of Tanner's sites too.